like even if you're doing a proper bridge, right? This is a proper jiu-jitsu bridge. You can see the distance from his elbow to his knee is huge, right? There's so much inside space here that's open. So when someone's passing your guard, it's not the time to be bridging. It's the time to be connecting your elbow and your knee together to keep that inside space. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So we've done a lot of videos and most of them have been on leg locks, to be honest, and that is primarily due to this man here, John Danaher, and the movement he created in jiu-jitsu that turned leg locks from a weakness into a strength, right? And now he's focusing that same energy on the stand-up position.
Why can't we do the same thing with standing position? If we did it with leg locks, why can't we do it with standing position? Okay.
So this movement has kind of caused a lot of jiu-jitsu people to focus a lot on their wrestling and also wrestling up from bottom position. But it's also caused a lot of wrestlers to get involved with jiu-jitsu. So in this video, I want to talk about the biggest weakness I think wrestlers make when doing jiu-jitsu. So there's a couple mistakes that wrestlers kind of have a bad reputation for making in jiu-jitsu. The first one is they tend to dive their head in the pocket here, which leaves them vulnerable for guillotines, right? And it's a pretty simple submission. Anyone on the street can grab your neck and crank on it a little bit, and it's very, very effective, right? So it's something we all need to be careful of. But wrestlers kind of have a bad rap for tending to dive their head there. And then number two is they tend to not want to give up the pin, so they turn their back, right, to end up on their chest. So it's not a good instinct to have when you're doing jiu-jitsu, is to turn your back. But that is something that wrestlers have a bad rap for doing in jiu-jitsu. First, I want to talk about what I think the biggest strengths of wrestling is. And then two, I want to talk about the biggest weakness of wrestlers. And then three, I want to talk about how we can turn those weaknesses into strengths. And then four, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is myself, for giving some apparel to you guys. So all we ask is that you comment, subscribe, and share the video. It's free to enter. So pretty much a no-brainer. And stay tuned to the end of the video for more info on the giveaway. But appreciate you guys for the support. And let's get into it. So biggest strengths, I think, of wrestling is first the mentality, right? Like there's no arguing. Wrestlers are just a different breed of people and you can't question their heart. They have crazy conditioning, crazy intensity, and it's hard to match, right? And especially in jiu-jitsu, which comes from like a more like laid back kind of culture, you know? So that intensity really, really helps when competing in jiu-jitsu. And then two, I think the biggest strength technique-wise is their hand fighting. Right? You can see here standing Gordon Ryan against Pat Downey. Gordon Ryan has a collar tie, and he's not even breaking the posture at all of Pat Downey. But then as soon as Pat Downey touches Gordon's head, he like rips his head down, right? So, I mean, just the pure strength of them is crazy. And then Gordon gets a collar tie and just quick little elbow pass. Again, same collar tie, right into the elbow pass to a back take. Gordon gets a collar tie, throw by to a foot sweep. I'll show that one again. See, collar tie, throw by, foot sweep. Just like crazy technique, right? Collar tie, you just push it off, underhook, right? So their grip fighting is crazy from standing position. He pretty much let Gordon have a dominant position, right? And he just countered it the whole time. They have very good systems for grip fighting from standing position.
Three lines of defense is our head, our hands, and our hips.
The biggest weakness, I think, is that those three lines of defense are not translated to the ground position, right? You have your head, your hands, and your hips to defend and to prevent your opponent from controlling you in any meaningful way. And wrestlers, like we just talked about, do a really good job of doing that from standing position. But as soon as they hit the ground, like they just tend to dive their heads right into the pocket, right? And it's easy to control their head at that point. And you can see here Gordon against Pat Downey again. Pat Downey's just standing with a square stance. There's no effort on his part to fight for inside position with the feet. There's a ton of systems in place to deal with grip fighting from standing with your hands, but there's no effort to pummel with your feet to get inside position. So as you see this play out here, you can see Gordon just gets inside position with his feet, Pat Downey's kind of diving his head forward. So Gordon says, okay, I'll grab your head. I'll control your head now. So I have inside position with my feet and have control of your head. Gordon looks at the camera like, yeah, you're in my world now, you know? So you could tell, like, it's just different, you know, when wrestlers go to the ground, there's just no effort to establish inside control or just fight with their feet in general. So you could see here, again, Gordon enters, he has one foot on the inside. And Pat Downey is doing like a Darth Vader grip like the whole time on Gordon's neck here. There's no effort to pummel with the legs or foot fight. It's just all Darth Vader grip choke on Gordon's neck. So I think the biggest weakness of wrestling is keeping those same principles that they use on the feet and applying them to different aspects of the ground game, right? Instead of death gripping Gordon Ryan's neck here, there should be a lot more effort placed on fighting the feet, right? Getting past the feet first before you start attacking the upper body. But Gordon has such good frames here, and there's no effort, right, on the wrestler's part, Pat Downey, to remove those frames. And you can see this results in Gordon getting a sweep, and then classic wrestler turns his back and gets his back taken. Right? So again, you see this in wrestling a lot. They turn their back so they don't get pinned. But in jiu-jitsu, it's not a good thing to turn your back, right? And it's also not necessarily good to bridge uncontrollably. So we'll see here, here's a takedown in wrestling, and the bottom person is bridging hard. I'll play that one more time. They're just bridging super hard into the top player here, trying to escape their control, right? But again, there's no effort to fight with the feet, right? And establish frames. It's just all bridging, right? And try and get your shoulders off the mat. So we can see this play one more time. You can see just really intense bridging, right? Like, even if you're doing a proper bridge, right? This is a proper jiu-jitsu bridge. You can see the distance from his elbow to his knee is huge, right? There's so much inside space here that's open. So when someone's passing your guard, it's not the time to be bridging. It's the time to be connecting your elbow and your knee together to keep that inside space. So the biggest problem I think wrestlers tend to have is that they give up too much inside space. You could see Gordon was just getting inside space with his feet all the time. There's no effort to fight for that inside space. And then here, when they're getting their guard passed, just bridge super hard, gives people the ability to take that inside space and get a super dominant pin on you. So instead of bridging, you could see Gordon getting his guard pass here. Never once does he bridge. His knee is coming up to keep that inside space. His opponent goes north-south here coming up, but his knee stays to his chest. His knee stays on that collarbone. Just constantly framing, right? But if Gordon were to put his feet on the ground and bridge, his opponent would be able to get that chest to chest and it would be over, right? He would pass his guard at that point. But at no point does Gordon try to bridge as his opponent is passing his guard, which is, I think, the first instinct of wrestlers is to bridge. And as soon as you bridge, you open up that space for your opponent to capture that inside position and secure the pin. Yeah, let's just watch that one more time, actually, before we do the giveaway. Just so you can see it's all about inside position. So now let's do the giveaway. I wanted to give you guys another gi. Just super grateful for the amount of support you guys give me. So I wanted to give away another gi. This is, honestly, I'm pretty sure this is knockoff Show You Roll, but it's been worn, a few times, but it's not too worn in, but it is used. If you can see I took off some patches here. You can see there's a spot where the patch was taken off. I took off a patch here on the pants. But it's a very nice gi. If you guys are interested in winning this gi, we ask that you comment, subscribe, and share to enter yourself into the raffle. So appreciate you guys for the support, and good luck, and we'll see you next time.